Hey YouTube, this is our new channel doing our first YouTube video under construction. I'm Matt and this is Michelle, and we are doing this channel as something we've wanted to do for a very long time. We have a lot of life lessons and a lot of subjects that I think a lot of people struggle with and are challenges, and I feel like we have some life experiences that can help you through that. And if we can't, then I think it would at least be a topic that we can all discuss. So we're excited to get into the first one. We're going to talk today about New Year's resolutions, and we're already a week into the new year. But we had come up with this topic and done a lot of research, and I am going to turn it over to let Michelle kind of go through the beginning part of this.
So one of the things that we did initially is, why do we set New Year's resolutions? What is a resolution? Why do we always want to, at the beginning of the year, try to set something? Well, basically, a resolution is just that. It's a firm decision to do or to not do something. So I want to save more money, or I want to, be a better parent. I want to get in physical shape. And we're using the new year kind of as a last year's over, last year's done. Here's my line in the sand. Brand new year, brand new me, brand new, wonderfulness. So as we're drawing that line in the sand, if you will. So now we're just going to talk about some of the different types of resolutions. A lot of people want to lose weight. Some people want to gain weight. You want to, start a new relationship with somebody. You want to end a relationship with somebody. You want to, have more money at the end of the year. You want to, be a better person, be a better friend, be more available. You want to travel. There's a lot of things that, come into creating a resolution. In other areas where a resolution is heard of is sometimes if you have conflict, well, what's the final resolution? What's the final outcome? What was the end, the end game, what was agreed upon? And sometimes that can be very important, because that's when you have an agreement and now you're moving forward. You're not talking about it anymore. You had the problem, the final resolution was this, and now we're moving forward. Another thing about resolutions, look at our TVs, look at our technologies. We have, the bigger the resolution, the more crisp that picture is. And we all want to have that perfect, that perfect picture. We all want to be able to see, all the flaws and all the wonderfulness on the other side of that TV. So that's kind of why we chose New Year's resolutions.
You want to talk about what some of the top resolutions are?
Well, some of the top resolutions are a lot of, losing weight. You want to get organized. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. Maybe you want to travel more. Maybe you want to save more money, or maybe spend less money. Quit smoking.
Quit smoking, quit drinking. What were some other ones?
Travel more.
Travel more,
read
more.
Family, read
Yeah.
more. And I think
I don't
we've
know.
done
Some
quite
of you
a bit
might.
of this.
Some of you might want to spend less time with family. I don't know, but
You might.
I guess you could put that as your resolution. That'd be a little negative, but
Those are the top ones that we found.
Yeah. So those are really, really good. So let's talk a little bit about, some of the research we did about setting the resolution, right? And how you do that. So the first one is there's some that you can categorize, right? And say, are you satisfied in certain areas and where you might want to make improvement? Because I think a lot of the resolutions are about making improvements, obviously. And so 4 areas that we kind of broke this down to are emotionally, spiritually, financially, and physically. And I think Michelle's going to talk about each of those individually and kind of go in a little bit more in depth to explain what we mean by those. So the first one, I think, is emotionally.
Yep. So when you think of emotional, you think of how you feel. Think of how you feel any given moment. You can wake up one day and you feel on top of the world, and this person cuts in line, while you're getting your Starbucks, and then this person cuts you off in traffic, and the kids didn't cooperate, and by the time you actually, get to work, you're just having a really, really, really bad day. And it's a series of events that kind of led up to, now, I started off happy, I started off optimistic. Now I'm in a bad mood. I don't want anybody to talk to me. I want to feel isolated. I don't want to feel productive at work. Any type of emotion is basically whatever happens around your circumstance. And I think that it's very important to recognize what those emotions are in any given day, because in order to have a better outlook, you have to understand where you are emotionally so that you can say, man, I'm tired of being angry all the time. I'm tired of feeling rushed all the time and just frustrated. I'm tired of, feeling depressed. I'm tired of feeling anxious all the time. So kind of do a little inventory, if you will, of how are you feeling emotionally? What areas do you want to grow on?
I think one of the things that's key to all of these is identifying kind of what the root cause is, because I think, like Michelle said, it's not, I just want to be less depressed. I want to be less angry. Well, what's causing you to be that? So I think you pointed that out already, and I think that's a really good idea, is figuring out what triggers those things.
Absolutely.
You want to go to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. What's the next one?
So the next one was financially.
All right.
I don't know about you guys. I'm ready to retire. I can't. I don't have enough money. But one of the things is ultimately one day I do want to retire. I want to be able to enjoy this wonderful life that has been given, and I don't want it to just end in, the 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. I get vacation, once or twice a year. I want to actually take inventory of what I have and what I'm blessed for. There's so many things that I think that we maybe take for granted, and there's a lot of things that people are out there and they're praying for all the things that you have that you take for granted every day. So yeah, you may not have the $1 million in the bank, or you may not have $10 in the bank, but you may have really good health. You may have a child that looks up to you. You may have a spouse that absolutely adores you. You may have a job that you love going to. In any event, sometimes financially we all want more. We all want more. I get it. I'm right there with you. I want more, but I'm also trying to take inventory of the blessings that I think that we've been given, so that some of those things money can't buy. Some of those things, I just can't buy it. No matter if I had $1 million or not, having that is not going to make it. So is it really that I want, more finances, or do I really just want to be happy in another area of my life where finances aren't really a factor? Physically, do we want to lose weight? That's one of my goals. I want to lose weight. You were very successful a couple of years ago. I think you've lost 80-ish, 90-ish pounds, keep me honest. Almost 100.
Let's go with that.
From 2021, so 3 years ago. Goal was definitely lose weight. He did that on his own. He wanted to do that. I kind of try to keep him accountable, hold him accountable.
There's no question you held me accountable, but I don't think you did it in an overbearing way, but you did it you knew that was my goal.
Right.
And so you tried to continue to steer me in the right direction.
So I didn't eat the Little Debbie snack cakes in front of him. I did that behind closed doors.
So did I.
So, goodness.
I just do that now.
Yes. So maybe you want to eat a little bit healthier. Maybe you're doing good, but you realize that fast food is just not so good anymore. Maybe you want to learn to cook. Maybe you don't even know how to cook. Maybe you want to learn to cook and you want to take some classes, or you want to take some lessons, and you want to, instead of eating out fast food all the time, you want to go in and learn to cook. I want to learn to cook. Do you think I can learn to cook?
I think you already know how to cook, okay. So you do very well. I wouldn't have lost the weight if you didn't know how, so I appreciate that. But going back to your point, I mean, some of these, like the whole learning how to cook and working on your physical side, can also help you on the financial side. So as you can kind of see, you just kind of hit two of them right there with one stone. So that was really good.
Absolutely. And it may not be that from a financial perspective, I want more money.
Sure.
It is, I'm tired of spending money out. So in order for me to save money, I don't need to be eating out as much. So, but I don't know how to cook. What can I do? and we'll talk about all of these in a little bit more detail, but just start thinking about, where are you at physically? Are you satisfied with where you're at physically? And then lastly, spiritually. Spiritually is not necessarily religion. So let's kind of straighten that out really, really, really quick. You've kind of heard of like spiritual walks and, getting close with nature. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with religion. Now, we are Christians and we try to live our daily lives and our household under that. But spiritually can just be getting a sense and getting a feeling of that there's something greater out there than just you. And, it may be aliens. Whatever your fancy is, but it's something more than just live, pay taxes, and die. And that could be, it could be ghosts. I could go on and on and on about spiritually. Sometimes people go on spiritual journeys. I've had many friends and acquaintances in the past where they've done a spiritual journey. They've gone and stayed 2 weeks in a mountain. They've gone to a retreat where they've completely disconnected from electronics and social media and things that draw our attention to where we can get back to what is important to you, what is important to your family, what is it that you want to be able to get better at. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean, to get a relationship with a higher power. That just means learn who you are. Get on that spiritual journey. And if that's one of your resolutions, then I think we're in the right place. What do you think?
Absolutely. I think the spiritual side can mean a lot of different things. It certainly does not have to just be a religious journey. So I think you make a really, really good point. I think some people get scared by that word and think that it means something that it doesn't necessarily have to mean. But if that is your thing and you are a Christian or you're religious to some extent, you certainly can practice that through your spirituality as well.
Well, and one of the things that I kind of wrote down when I was looking at, spiritual journey is you want to feel at peace. You don't want the drama. You don't want, the criticism. You don't want, all eyes on you, for example. You just want to be at peace. You want to be able to lay your head down on the pillow and get a good night's sleep. Sometimes people do this by, yoga or meditation or just reading. Those are some of the things that can help you on, a spiritual journey, if you will. So, and I think we're going to talk a lot more spirituality as we go on for this YouTube channel.
For sure.
So that's number one is, are you satisfied in those 4 areas?
Absolutely. And so number 2 is, you want to think about your life and what you want, and you want the goal to be realistic, or the resolution to be realistic. Don't set yourself up for failure. I think a big thing that when you're setting any kind of goal is to set it realistically, so that you're not setting yourself up and feeling down because 1 week into it or 1 month into it you can't keep up with it. You're not going to set out. Even when I set a weight loss deal, I didn't set out to lose 100 pounds. I just said I wanted to lose weight. I did have a kind of an ideal place where I wanted to be, but I didn't set out and say I need to be at this number. I wanted to at least start the journey to say that I can do it. And for me, as I started to see the results, then I started to kind of readjust that. And you can certainly readjust the resolution. But it's the idea of getting started and trying to stick to that.
Well, and also think about, if you've never exercised, for example, or you have, sore knees, or, you haven't, been on an exercise bike in several years, and, you want to start exercising and, I'm going to exercise 5 days a week. No, you're not. You're not doing that. You'll be lucky if you get on it for 5 minutes the first week. And that's just because it's all of it's habit changing. So make sure that when you set those expectations, you set those resolutions, do it realistically, because that's where a lot of resolutions fail, is you start getting discouraged and nobody's keeping you accountable. You're keeping yourself accountable. But I don't know about you. I hate failing. Anybody that knows me knows I hate failing. I'm very competitive. So if I'm going to set a resolution, I want to make sure that I do anything and everything I can to meet it.
I did not know that about you. So that is, thank you for sharing that feedback. I did not know that. Anyway, the third one is let go. Let go of all of it. You have to, just like we were saying before, you have to change the habits to reach the goal.
Yeah.
So it goes back to like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If you continue, and I know we keep using like the lose weight, but you know, if you want to set a financial goal of saving, you know, more money, and I don't care if it's $50 a week that you want to save, you can't keep going through the Chick-fil-A drive-through every day and save that $50. Or I am really bad about having to stop at a convenience store to get something just because it's there. And so one of the things that I tried to say this year is I've got to do a lot less of that. I can't even imagine if Michelle went back and looked at our budget and said how many times I've gone to the convenience store, what that would look like. I don't want you to do that research, so let's don't get there. I just know that I need to cut back on that. And so that I didn't put it in my resolution, by the way. But it's the idea is if
Maybe
you
you
want,
need
maybe I
okay.
don't. But you got to change the habit if you want to reach the ultimate goal.
And I mean, you bring up a good point, because if you can't change the habit, what is preventing you? What is holding you back? Is it really just a habit, or is it that, man, I have to get that coffee at 7-Eleven every morning, or I have to get that coffee at Starbucks every morning because that's what gets me going? Okay, well, instead of going through the Starbucks line or, you know, the McDonald's drive-through to get your, you know, your cup of coffee, start making it at home. On the weekends, make a couple of cups, try different flavors. By the end of it, you'll be fine. And I'm not saying you have to do that every single day, because the habit is very hard. You always take a right on this particular street and there's a convenience store right there, and you just go in and you just get that cup of coffee.
My happy place.
And just take inventory of what is preventing you from, what is getting in the way, what is preventing you from that, what's holding you back.
Absolutely. The fourth one is to stop making excuses. You know what? Where there's a will, there's a way, obviously. And I was one that very early on, many years ago, I'm not going to age myself this evening, but I was one that I was easy to make an excuse as to why I couldn't do something. And then I realized one day I was in, opportunity existed where I became a leader in business, and I didn't like to hear the excuses. And so I realized very quickly that, man, that used to be me. And so I quickly learned that it is easy to make the excuse. It's really hard to fight through what it is that's preventing you from getting there and then fixing it. And so as you go back to think about, 2 and 3 about, changing the habits in your life and setting the realistic goal, you've got to stop making excuses of what is preventing you to get there.
I agree 100%.
And go ahead. Did you want to add something to that?
No, I was
Okay.
ready to move on.
You're ready to move on to 5.
I'm ready
Okay.
to move
I need
on
a
to 5.
convenience store stop, obviously. I was going to
Clearly.
let you talk. And anyway, so 5, write down your resolutions. Do something to keep track of them. Read them on a daily or a weekly basis. Something that takes you back to what it was that had you set that goal to begin with, and what it is that you're striving for. So the days that you have that temptation to not go to the gym or to go through that drive-through or to whatever it may be, going back and reliving that moment of, okay, when I set this goal, this is what I wanted the end to look like. So you can go back to all of these, 1, 2, 3, and 4, because now that I've written it down and I can track it and I can be accountable for it, and see it on a daily or a weekly or whatever basis that you're wanting to keep track of it, then you have an idea of it's staring you right there in the face. It's something that's going to hold you accountable. You don't necessarily. It's nice to have an accountability partner, and I have one. and Michelle, and vice versa. But let's say you don't necessarily have that, or you maybe you don't want to share that resolution with somebody else because maybe it's kind of embarrassing or whatever, and that's fine. But as long as you know what it is, and as long as you're keeping track of it, I think it will help you stay on course.
Well, and not only that, but I think it's also this is where, you know, taking inventory of what is your end game. You know, it's great. I mean, we've got 365 days, 66 this year because it's leap year. But we've got a whole year, and getting discouraged and man, I'm never going to do it, and I'm never going to do it. This is the very beginning of a new year. This is the very beginning of a new chapter. We need to just push forward. You're going to fail. I'm going to fail. I fail every single day. One of my goals, for example, is to not speak immediately when people are coming to me and telling me my problems. I need to kind of take a breath. I need to understand what the problem is and not take it personal. And some of the things that I've been able to do is literally put a pen in my mouth because I can't speak if there's something in my mouth. So putting a pen in my mouth will just make me conscious, if you will, that I need to truly listen to what the other person is saying instead of trying to interrupt, trying to already answer or respond in a way that I think that the conversation is going. We're going to fail at the end of the day. We're going to fail. That's okay. We're all here. That's why we're under construction. We are all a bunch of failures. We want to do this with you. We want to do this and we want to cheer you on, and we want to be able to help you, and we want to reward the little milestones, because at the end of the day, at the end of the month, at the end of the year, you're going to be able to say, man, I did this. I set out this goal. It is now part of my daily habit. Look at where I was. Look at where I've become. And it's going to be wonderful. One of the things that I kind of want to end on is a Bible verse, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
So in Isaiah chapter 43, verse 18, do not remember past events. Pay no attention to things of old. This is written down for me as a daily reminder that I am not trying to think of who I was in 2023. I want a better version of Michelle in 2024. You want a better version of Matt in 2024. So while we may look in the rearview mirror, we're not going to harp on it. We're going to celebrate those successes. And hey, if we fall, it's okay. We'll be right here.
Yeah, and I mean, to your point, I mean, the only way you can change the past is what you do in the future.
Okay.
So you can learn the lesson from the past, and I think that's what that verse speaks to me is you can learn the lesson, but the past is the past now. You got to move forward, and I think that's a great reminder.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you have another one? I thought you had another one.
I thought I did too, but maybe I don't.
Okay.
Oh, maybe I do.
Okay.
No, I don't.
Okay. I do, I don't, I do, I don't. I don't know.
I mean, we might.
At least we didn't get that on the marriage proposal.
Actually, I do. Yes. Oh, you're funny. Ha 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 ha. So in Colossians 3, verse 23, whatever you do, do it from the heart. You're only setting resolutions because it's something that you want. It's not something that somebody told you to do. And if it is, you probably really need to evaluate that situation. We're not going to talk about that today. But whatever you do, do it from the heart as if it's being done for the Lord and not for people. That's what we're here for. We're here to make him pleased. So that's another good one.
That's a great one. That's a great one.
I take with me daily.
Absolutely. So I hope that this helps set your resolutions or to put them in perspective, to give you kind of a roadmap of how we set ours this year. I don't know if you necessarily want to share what any of those are,
or we
can share them at a later date. Yep. I know that we are going to talk about on, I think, the next chapter of this or the next video that we want to do is what happens when you fall short on the resolution, because it's very easy to set them. And I think we talked about, being realistic and all of that, but what happens when you fail? Because like Michelle was saying earlier, I mean, we all fail in some way, shape, form, or fashion, probably on a daily basis, whether it be very small or very big. And, you know, how do you pick yourself up from that? What do you do, and how do you kind of move forward? Because just because, you know, you said you wanted to go to the gym 5 days a week or 3 days a week doesn't mean that if you didn't do it for 2 weeks, you can't jump back on and fix that. So it's all like Michelle said in the one verse is, you know, it's not necessarily about the past. You know, you got to let go of that. So we'll talk about what it is to, or what that looks like. Again, I hope that this helped you. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
Welcome to the channel. It's going to be a fun ride. Can't wait to see what this year ends.
Absolutely. Good night.
Good night.